A sad day in Boksburg, where 17 people have died and several are hospitalized following a gas leak in the Angelo informal settlement. The leak allegedly stems from a gold rush by illegal miners in the area. According to reports, these miners use nitrate oxide to extrapolate what is perceived as gold from soil in the area. Let's go to eNCA's Heidi Giokos, who is on the ground just investigating the latest there. Heidi, can you give us an update on the situation there at the moment? What are community members describing?
Yes, Masako, we are here at the Angelo informal settlement where we do understand 16 people died here and one died in hospital. Currently, there are 11 people that are currently admitted, with the youngest being just 2 months old. But luckily, we have been told that those that have been admitted, there's only one in serious condition, and the rest seem to be very responsive and luckily breathing on their own, including the 2-month-old baby. It's quite a shocking scene where we are. This is, of course, where we do understand where this incident happened. It's understood that this is the gas tanker, the gas cylinder that was used in all of this. But we are joined by the Provincial Police Commissioner, Elias Mawela, just to get an update on this. Thank you so much for your time, PC. You have been at pains. We have been covering you for a very long time, trying to deal with illegal mining and these zamazamas. This situation has turned deadly, really tragic. From your understanding, what have you been told in terms of what actually happened here?
Thank you very much once more for the opportunity given to us. We are informed by the residents around here, including the primary preliminary investigation by our teams, that late yesterday, the residents here, they've started to smell something funny. According to them, they say it smells like a rotten eggs. And they could see that it is from the shack. And they started whistling, and then some other community members responded. And the good thing is that, the wind was blowing this side. Anyway, not so good, but the wind was blowing that side. That is why they were not affected themselves. And there is also a small baby there in the shack behind where we are right now. Small baby. So when a certain community member, brave enough, thanks God, thanks to that particular community member, who managed to come here and find these gas cylinders. According to him, there were 3 which were opened. This one, I think, and also those other 2 there. And then that community member managed to close them down. Later on, they realized that a lot of people, they've collapsed along the way, and then they passed on. May their souls rest in peace. So this is the sad situation we find ourselves in.
I want to get a sense from you as to who do you understand to be behind this? Because we've obviously been told it's zamazamas, it's illegal miners. This area is apparently living in fear. This community is living in fear because they just don't know how to bring the situation under control. Have you managed to figure out who's behind this? Have you arrested anybody linked to this?
We haven't arrested anybody, but we have figured out who are the people. Because when we are talking to the residents here, they say the real owner of this place passed on sometime last year. And then these people who were doing these illegal activities, they took the occupation around November last year. And we are told that they are from Zimbabwe. So they've been operating here. Unfortunately, no one wants to give us the names of those individuals. That's the sad part of it. But they've been operating here, and nobody has said anything to anybody until now. We have this tragic. And we do have a lot of places like this in many informal settlements around here. You go to Jerusalem, in the Florida area, the same. You go to other areas in the western areas, you'll find that. That is why we discourage the communities from harboring especially undocumented persons in their space. And if they've rented out their premises, they must also ensure that they monitor what are the activities happening in their particular space so that they can report it to us. This area, Angelo, is not for the first time we come here. We have been operating this area, but I must be honest that this site where these things have happened, I have not yet come to this area. I've been that other side in the soccer field, we've been talking to the community and so forth. But during our interaction, none of them raised that issue to say that, there are people who are processing the gold-bearing materials in their shacks. They've never raised it with us. Sadly, now we know, and some of the community leaders, they've committed to work with me so that they identify more shacks and so that we can demolish them. But what is important is that we must arrest those who are behind these things.
How many shacks have you demolished in terms of where you have found these gas cylinders? Are you able to give me that number?
Yes, it is this one, and then we are informed that there is a second one not far from this area where they are busy removing the pendukas and the machines which they are using to can process the gold-bearing material. So we may have more than those two.
Okay. Yeah. I want to ask you, as the Premier indicated that the police are under-resourced. This community has been begging for the police to move in. The police themselves have expressed some discomfort in moving in these areas because these illegal miners are apparently heavily armed. There's some kind of indication that the army will be moving in to try and bring the situation under control because of how heavily armed these individuals are. Do you feel that the army is needed? Do you feel that the army is needed to support the police?
Firstly, when coming to this area called Angelo, it's not a hearsay for me. I've personally walked this place during the day, during the night. Not once, not twice, I think 3 times or 4 times. I've been operating in this area. And there is not even a single day where I've said I'm afraid to can come into this place, including my police officers. So we are not afraid to can come into this place. We've been operating here. The Minister of Police have also come with me. Another Saturday he came and then we have walked with him in this particular place called Angelo. So here is just a perception which people are harboring to say that we are afraid. If you can go to that soccer field there, where I used to call the imbizos, the street imbizos, talking to the community in that particular area. So we have been working this area. We'll accept whatever assistance. I'll never say no to anyone who wants to assist me to fight crime. Anyone who thinks that he's having the capacity and the capability to assist me to can fight crime, they are more than welcome. Anyone.
But are you aware that the community does live in fear? We've spoken to some community members and they basically live in fear. Some don't even want to talk on camera about what happened because they don't know what the retaliation is going to be like.
Obviously, in an area like this, the community will be in fear. Look at the environmental design. Look how the area is so congested. There's no lighting. There's no road. So if there is something happening here, not only the police, all the emergency services, it can be the ambulance, it can be the fire, it can be anything else. They'll struggle to can come and assist here. So obviously, if assistance is going to struggle to can come for you, you live in fear. There's no numbering, the shacks here, no address, nothing. So if somebody phoned to say that's a problem, how are we going to respond to this thing? We still continue to call on the whole of government approach. Let those who are responsible for human settlement come and assist this community. Those who are responsible for putting together the lighting and, sanitation and water and so forth, let them come and assist this community. Because the police alone, they are not going to resolve the socio-economic factors which are affecting the community here. We need everybody. And the community say they live in fear. It is true. Even myself, I'll live in fear and staying in a place like this.
Yeah. Definitely. Thank you so much for your time. We do appreciate it. That is the Provincial Police Commissioner, Elias Mawela, just speaking to us about what has happened here and some of the challenges. And the visuals that my colleague Teddy is currently showing you, it's just what is used in these operations and the illegal mining that currently takes place. I must say, Masego, that in some way, as bizarre as this sounds, it's very sophisticated. It seems like there's a full-on operation that was happening here. Police have, of course, moved in to confiscate as much as they can and obviously take whatever they can. Teddy was showing you those cylinders over there as well, and the Provincial Commissioner did say that it seems as though the community members from the other side had been notifying community members that there's something going on here, and we actually are trying to locate the individual, his name is Sam. He is the one that actually came into this yard and actually turned off the cylinders. Very brave. But the fact that he was so brave to do that, and he was obviously not harmed in the process. But you can just see that, there's no infrastructure. It's a really sad state to actually see what's going on here, but you can just see that this is what people are subjected to, and the fact that people are mining illegally here. So police are trying to move in, and Mawela has been at pains to try and deal with the illegal mining in this area, but it continues unabated, and unfortunately in this instance it has turned deadly.
All right, quite concerning there, Heidi Giokos, showing us the visuals of the aftermath of that gas explosion in Boksburg. And of course, those very pertinent questions by my colleague Heidi to Elias Mawela, who is the commissioner, the provincial commissioner of Gauteng, pertaining to illegal mining, something that police have been investigating. But of course, we know that they've really been unable to get to the bottom of what's causing the illegal mining around South Africa, particularly in Gauteng. And now 17 people have passed away. And Heidi is telling us that the youngest being 2 months old. We thought a little earlier on that the youngest was a year old, but in fact we're told that the youngest is actually just 2 months old. And Heidi Giokos and Teddy Munyembane just showing you those visuals that we're still on there live in Boksburg, walking through the streets. And already there, Heidi, just one more question from me to you. We can already see the people in that area are living in squalor, and that obviously also speaks to a lack of service delivery in that particular area, but also, Heidi, the danger of the proximity, the close proximity of people's homes, and how some of them were unable to get away from the explosion, the gas explosion, or gas leak rather.
Yes, exactly. And the Premier had indicated to us that the scene last night was absolutely tragic, because he says you could actually see that people were running away or trying to get away, because he indicated how the bodies were scattered everywhere, and he was indicating how you could see that some people were obviously trying to get away, and unfortunately they had inhaled this gas that was coming out of those cylinders. You've mentioned something so important here, how people are living in absolute squalor, and the provincial police commissioner had said earlier on that human settlements needs to move in, and we had spoken to the MMC of human settlements here in Ekurhuleni this morning, and he said they are trying to find ways to sort this out. But how do you sort this out? I mean, look at what we are showing you, Masego. This is not a new informal settlement that's just mushroomed up. You can see that this has been here for some time, and now unfortunately this has turned deadly. The police obviously needing to move in to try and do away with the illegal mining that's happening here. But it's not easy, because you can see what's going on here. As Mawela indicated, there's no numbering here, there's no roads here, there's nothing. How do you move into an area like this and conduct your operations? So this is going to have to be a national collective effort to try and sort this out. I do also want to emphasize the fact that the Premier, together with the provincial police commissioner, indicated that there's a massive issue here of undocumented nationals, and that's also very difficult for them to move in and try and assist, because there's always resistance. It's going to be interesting to see what happens in terms of the deployment, if at all, of the military, because the Premier, the impression he gave me, Masego, was that he was very concerned about the state of affairs here, and that the police are clearly unable to bring the situation under control, and perhaps the military will have to move in. So that's definitely a development we'll have to monitor.
All right, Heidi Giokos, thank you very much for that update. Of course, this is a developing story, so do stay tuned to eNCA as we bring you the latest. And if the army is brought out, it would have to go through, the presidency as well as the Ministry of Governance and Cooperative Affairs before they can go to an area like Boksburg.